Yes, y'all, you know what it is. It's that kids and wives and 9 to 5s, but we are married to the games. How are you guys doing out there, podcast land? It is good to see you guys, or hear you guys, and be with y'all for y'all to hear us. We are happy to be here. 046, I think. We're moving on up. 046?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah. It's your boy Gabe Patillo with Timothy Hall and Tim Router, of course. And as always, we are talking about life and games and life because we love it. It's incredible. And kicking it off because he's got some stuff to say. He's raring to go. Timothy Hall, how has your week been?
I have only life to talk about. No games, unfortunately, because there's been too much life going on.
Boo.
That sucks.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I'm just kidding. No, that's good. You've had good stuff going, though.
Some. Anyway, I think I talked on the show last week about moving and how much it sucks. And, how every time you move, you realize how much it sucks and you say, I'm never moving again. And then you do it anyway.
Yeah, it's inevitable, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. But we went to go move into our place this weekend and it wasn't ready. And
it's amazing. How is it just not ready?
It was not clean at all. And they had made no accommodations to make it so. And they said they would. They were like, oh, we're going to do this and do this and do this. And we were like, okay, cool. And then we go back the next day and it's nothing is done. So nothing that they said was done. So basically, they gave us back our deposit, which is weird. And they gave us I think we'd paid like a prorate or something. They gave us back everything, basically.
That's amazing.
Which is so unusual. I was like, oh, okay.
Sounds like they just didn't want you or something, man. That sounds awful. It's like, hey, just take this and go away. Just go. That's awful.
Yeah, and it made moving even more terrible. I think this is just it was one of the worst moving experiences I had, but it got better after that. So basically,
so wait, let me ask you this. When did you find out that you weren't going to be moving into your new place? Like, did you have to find another place that day or something?
We had to find another place the next day. And this weekend I had a huge audio conference for work.
Of course.
So that didn't help. The weekend that I'm moving, of course I have something going on.
Yeah, when it rains, it pours, man.
Exactly.
Oh, that's awful.
So we had to scramble. Nashville is basically at this point over capacity with their apartments because of the flood and the housing crash. So
sure.
We've kind of had a double doozy here when it comes to apartment availability. And we had gotten lucky that a little further down from the area we lived before, there was an apartment complex that had an opening because I think a girl had like reserved one and then she decided to not take it. So we got lucky that we had shown up that day and we put that deposit down. We were like, we're taking it. It's one of the only things we can find. It's ours.
Wow, man. Talk about timing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
The timing couldn't be more perfect. And as I told you guys before the show, this place is bigger and better than the place that we were at before. And it's the same price that we would have renewed at. So we really,
that's awesome.
We really got something good. I mean, it really couldn't have turned out better for a bad situation. And I'm
that's great,
happy
man.
about it.
Yeah, you should be. That's amazing.
There is one bone to pick that I have, though. And I had mentioned to you about freaking Comcast.
Nice.
Oh, gosh. So last night, I had tried calling them the day before, and I could not get a hold of them. Their system was having some trouble, which is normal for Comcast.
Sure.
And I had called them up last night to go ahead and take care of the transfer process because I think they can do it all over the phone. I don't even think they have to come out anymore. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
So I called them up and they said, oh, there's already service at that place. And I said, what? and they were like, "Do you know so and so?" And I was like, "No, I have no idea who that is. That's probably whoever lived here before."
Right.
They're like, "Oh, well, she still has cable and internet hooked up there, so until she turns it off, we can't turn yours on."
What?
Oh, come on.
And I was like, "Are you kidding me?" I was like, "What?" I was like, "Kick her off or disconnect her or something." I was like,
she don't live here no more.
Yeah, I was like, "That's not my problem." And she was like, "Well, hang on, I'm gonna try calling her real quick." And she tried calling and got a voicemail. She's like, "Well, she she didn't pick up. We're trying to figure this out, but basically until she disconnects, you can't transfer your service here." And I was like, "So what am I supposed to do?" I was like, "I still have service at my old place, so I don't want to disconnect that because if I do, I'm going to lose my promotion that I'm on." And that's exactly what they told me. They said, "If you disconnect the old one, you're not going to get the same price. Basically, you're going to have to start over."
Right.
And I was like, "Well, I'm not okay with that." I'm like, "What can we do? Is there anything we can do?" And basically, yeah, she said, "There's nothing. We can't do anything until we get the previous tenant to disconnect their service."
Wow.
All right, let's call her right now. Let's call that woman right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they won't give out her contact information, obviously.
So can you just get on her internet?
I basically asked the woman on the phone. I was like, "So if I plug in, the internet will just work?" And she didn't say anything. I think she's really not allowed to tell me to use somebody else's internet. And I was just like,
But
if they're not going to turn it off, you might as well use it.
I mean, I'm thinking that's what I might just do. But for all I know, this woman didn't have any internet. She may have just had basic cable and nothing else. So I haven't tried hooking in yet, but I guess I might as well today if they still haven't resolved this issue.
I was going to say, if you don't hear anything from them today, plug in and just see what you're working with and then go from there, because that's so weird that based on just the logistics of having somebody having to cancel first before they can transfer is weird.
Right.
That doesn't make
really,
it. I mean,
yes.
I understand the flow of it. Like, okay, one person cancels but they're Comcast, dude. They can do anything. All you have to do is transfer the name, or wherever that service is, just needs to be transferred into your name with the same package that you had before. How hard is that?
Yeah, and I forgot to mention that all of this took like an hour to do.
No, of course. No, I'm surprised it only took an hour.
Talk to them on the phone for them to tell me, yeah, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
But I have had so much trouble with this company, and we don't have any other options. So it's like, it's.
See, that's so funny. Like I have never, knock on wood, with the occasional, like maybe one time when service was out or something like that, I haven't had trouble with Comcast like you have. So it's like, I'm like, doo-doo-doo, Comcast is fine, it works for me, doo-doo-doo, but everybody else is just like hating on them, like, you guys suck. So maybe I'm just waiting for the ball to drop, and I'm just like, something's going to happen, and everything's just going to go pew, and I'm done.
Right.
But
yeah, yours is building up. It's just going to be something amazingly horrible.
yeah. And yeah, it's not going to be good. It won't be pretty. But man, that is crazy. I can't believe all on a logistical thing, an issue, not even a technical thing.
I know.
That's messed up.
I'm beyond unhappy with this company. Like I said, I've had issues in the past, and I've had to waste hours of my time on the phone trying to resolve them, only to get to a point where they're not resolved anyway. So it's just like, man.
They might do something for you if you call them back and complain. They've done that for me once.
I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to call up and say, "Do you just want me to cancel this altogether?"
Yeah.
I'm sure that I can figure out something, but basically, well, I mean, we do have like AT&T in the area.
Yeah, you can do Uverse.
I prefer Comcast still.
Yeah.
So, like, I just prefer cable in this area, but AT&T may have gotten to the point now where they're basically a direct competitor. But yeah, I'm really upset with them right now, and I'm seriously considering just saying, well, if you're not going to help me, then yeah, we're not going to be friends.
Ugh, that sucks. So you're just living out of boxes right now? or you guys
no,
moved
we
in,
actually
though, right?
we well, what happened was the crazy thing is that moving night. So I get home from work at about 6, and we started moving probably at about. I think we had to wait till about 8 o'clock because I had to wait for my brother-in-laws to come over and help. Which, by the way, if they didn't help, I don't know
screwed.
how
It wouldn't have happened.
It wouldn't have happened because we had to do it solidly until about 3 a.m.
Ugh.
So that was insane. And you don't realize how much stuff you have until you move it again. And apparently we doubled in stuff this time. So
Did you have to rent a truck too?
yeah, I rented a truck, loaded it up, and we had to load it up twice, but we're pretty close to where we were already. So it was like it wasn't that long of a drive, and it worked out for the better. But yeah, so I was running on like 2 or 3 hours of sleep yesterday, and when I got home, I was like, "Screw this! Nothing. I don't want all this crap like sitting around in boxes and stuff." So we basically started unpacking everything and setting it all up, and we're well over halfway done. So we're
that's great, man.
yeah, we're just
There
wanting
you
to get
go.
it all done. And I'm at
Nice.
that point now too, where it's like you've packed certain things and you can't find them, so I have to kind of hunt a little bit to find stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'll be good and ready to go next week. So
That's like when I clean up my room. I'm like, oh, my room's clean. Where is everything?
Right.
exactly.
man.
I just tell Krista to leave my space like messy because I was like, look, it looks bad, but I
Yeah.
know where everything
Controlled
is.
chaos.
it's
Controlled
fine.
chaos.
Sweet.
That's amazing, dude. So no games for you, huh?
Yeah, no time
Besides-
for games. I had to pack up the babies in little boxes, and when I say babies, it's Xbox and PS3.
Yeah, of course.
Good. I was hoping you didn't need the
and-
dogs.
Yeah, the dogs. Woo. Yeah, that was fun.
So you played a new game, The Battle of Comcast. That was your
Yeah.
game this week.
Pretty much. It's a phone role playing game where you always lose.
It's a choose your own adventure.
Choose your own adventure,
Exactly.
and then wait an hour to get an answer.
Voice prompts.
Wait an hour to get an answer, and like I said, every time you lose. So
Yeah, man, that's awful.
There you have it. Well, Tim Router, I'm hoping that you're having a better week going
Yeah,
on.
I
than
hate to
Timothy
say it,
Hall.
but Hall, I think I am having a better week than you are, brother. But no, it's all good. No, man, it's life, man. That's what happens. That was me for the past like 2.5, 3 weeks with just work. It wasn't moving, but it was just everything comes crashing down at you all at the same time, and it's all timing. I think as we're getting older, that's like been the main issue. It's just time. We need time for this, and this. But my week was a heck of a lot better than it has been. Work's been still kicking my butt, but it's manageable and just getting in the swing of things. I'm getting a new HVAC unit upstairs today. I'm so excited. Oh,
Da, 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 da,
Yeah.
da,
ta-da! I can't wait.
Air.
It's only been like a month and a half, but they're coming in nice and
But
early.
a summer month and a half.
Yeah, a summer month and a half. But like I said, August is our hottest month usually, so it'll be nice to have it up and running. So I'm super excited about that. I leveled up in my allergy shots. I have double XP now. So now the dosage is a little bit higher. So it'll be interesting to see how my body reacts to it, whether or not I'm just going to completely melt down or it's going to fight it a lot better. But so far, this weed pollen season's just been killing me. Sucks. Even with like all the shots and antihistamines and everything, you still feel it, and it just sucks. And it's early this year too because of all the rain we've gotten. But so leveled up there. Let's see what else is going on. The wife and I had a date night last night. We went and saw the movie The Heat with Sandra Bullock and
Oh,
Melissa
how was
McCarthy.
it?
Dude, it was funny. I love
Was it
Melissa
funny?
McCarthy. Yeah, it's not like take the guys and go see The Heat. It's a total date night movie.
I got you.
But it is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And Melissa McCarthy's hilarious in it, and I love her anyway. I think she's hysterical.
She is funny.
But so saw that, and gaming wise, let's see. I played The Walking Dead 400 days, and Gabe, you were right. I was like, okay, I'm going to sit down, and 45 minutes on, I'm like, done. Oh, okay.
Exactly.
So But yes, that was, you know what? It was a nice morsel, and now I'm very excited for season 2. So
Exactly.
that'll be good.
Right.
And now I am going back a little bit to the year 2009, and I am playing Infamous.
Yes.
And
finally.
I am super loving that game.
Isn't it
loving
awesome?
that game. It is great. And like, I think a lot of people might be saying, well, dude, why are you going back to some of these games? Everybody's got to remember, I'm still kind of the noob here of this whole bunch. Well, not kind of. I am the noob here. Like, Hall, I listened to your mashup with Boom Headshot and Geeks with Wives. Great podcast, guys, by the way. You guys did a fabulous job on that. And you guys are like listing all these games and systems. I'm like, don't know anything about that. You know, like just that. I didn't have that stuff growing up. I didn't have like a lot of that stuff. So I'm going back PS3 and just trying to play some games that have always been like the cult following games. So I had an extra gift card from GameStop that I found in my wallet. I'm like, sweet, it's Christmas in July. So I went
awesome.
I went and picked up Infamous and the original Dead Space 2. So those I think are my next older games that I'm going to play. But man, I'm loving Infamous. It's great. So, and that makes me super excited for Infamous 2, which I got for FREE from PlayStation Plus, and then which all leads up to Second Son. Yeah, and that's really what got me going. Is after watching the footage from E3, I'm like, dude, this is totally different than all those first-person shooters, and it's kind of the same old thing. This is something that's a little bit different. I'm excited. I'm going to start playing it.
I like it.
So I love it. Talk to me, Mr. Patillo. How was your week?
It was good, man. We actually got to go to a couple movies ourselves. We went and saw Wolverine and Superman.
Yes, I got to go see Wolverine.
How was it? How was it?
They're good.
No,
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you went and saw it?
Yeah, I went and saw it. I went and saw
I thought you were
Wolverine
saying you were going to see it.
No,
Yeah,
we went and saw Wolverine on opening night because we're big X-Men Wolverine fans, and then saw Superman the night before, and yeah.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna go into all of it, but they're fine.
That says more than anything else.
I know. Wolverine's way better than the first one, I think. And then Superman, you could kind of gripe about, but it's Superman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember a lot of my friends were like, I don't know, man. There's just too much action and fighting. You're like, dude, give me your man card. What do you mean there's too much action and fighting? Get out of here.
I want more feelings. Superman, talk to me about your
character
feelings.
development for me.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Oh God.
Beat Dishonored.
Oh, I want my copy back so I can start playing it too.
I know. I'll give it back to you.
And you loved it, right? You loved that.
That game's good. Yeah, same thing. You could nitpick stuff, but overall, it was a really good game. It definitely
And you said you got the good ending?
Yeah, I got the good ending, and it was roses and stardust. I was like, oh man, this is really nice. I ended with low chaos.
Nice.
Is what the last thing said. I don't know what all the different ones are, but obviously you can have a really, really bad ending and everything.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, mine was really bad.
Dude, that's because you went in and just chopped everybody up or shot them all.
I pretty much did, because I said, you know what? When I get discovered, you're not chasing me, so I'll just take care of you now.
That's awesome.
What's so funny is that there's powers and weapons that I didn't even use. And so the ending, I mean, you definitely feel it coming to an end, but it surprised me because I was like, wait, I haven't even bought this power over here or 3 of these. And I never upgraded my health. I never, there was 4 things you can choose that weren't powers. They're enhancements. And I think I only bought 1 of those. And I think I only bought Blink you get automatically. You get a thing where you can possess rats and stuff like that. And I upgraded that to where I could possess a person. Never did it. Never used the gun. Never used the grenades. There was, you know what I'm saying? I only used the crossbow and Blink, and I guess that's why I stayed with the low chaos
awesome, though.
thing.
But you like stealth games anyway. You're a big Hitman person, so that's you're all about that. So yeah, that would be awesome.
Right. And it's funny because when I got in situations where I had to kill people, I was like, no, shoot, no, But then I was like, wait, it's okay. Like, this game is made for both. And so the last level was like super easy. Like, it was just weird. I was like, this is it? This is the end? Like, there's barely any guy. I had to like sneak past like 8 guards, it felt like. Not really, but, there's barely any guards on the last level. And there was no... there's barely any rats. Like, everybody's like, oh, watch out for the rats. I was like, no rats on the last level.
There's a lot less rats if you don't kill people.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And the Weepers, like, which are their little version of kind of zombie guys. Same thing, just not very many of them. So at the same time, funny. I felt like maybe I didn't get the full game effect. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
But yeah, like I said, the more people you kill, and it tells you that on the loading screen, I think, the more people you kill, the more Weepers and rats you encounter. So my last level was a chore, basically.
Poor Hall. Like, the same person says, watch out for the rats, and a whole colony comes out for Hall. Gabe comes in, watch out for a rat, and eep, one mouse just goes right, or one rat just goes right across.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, and then I'm almost done with Jet Set Radio. I feel like I had unfinished business with that game from the Dreamcast days. And that game's long. I feel like that's longer than Dishonored. I'm like, be done already. Golly. So playing through Jet Set Radio, the controls and camera on that game are amazingly bad. Like, I'm struggling through it. But it's like, I never beat it before, and I used to own it on Dreamcast, and I loved that game for some reason, just from the music aspect and the cell shaded animation. And I never beat it, and so I'm beating it now. Playing a bunch of Running with Friends.
Really,
if you guys haven't played Running with Friends on the iOS?
Yeah.
Oh man, don't start. It's fun.
That's another Zynga one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I've got to start BioShock. That's got to be my next game. I thought I was going to do it, but Dishonored was sitting there because I borrowed it from you, Router. And I did that first. But I think I think BioShock Infinite has got to be the next thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too because, we'll get to it with the new releases just because of the DLC. But I'm like,
right.
Man, I got to do it. And so many of our community guys are like, dude, you guys have to play BioShock Infinite. Why haven't you played it yet?
Exactly. So that, and then like looking for I'm kind of slowly starting the hunt for the 3DS XL.
Nice.
So we'll see what happens.
Poor Gabe's going to have no life. You buy that 3DS, dude, that you might as well. That's your ticket. That's your ticket to be a hermit locked up in your house for the rest of your life.
So anyway,
Gabe, you pretty much have the best occupation for playing games because you get to on bus rides.
Exactly. I'm so jealous.
I am too, man. That's so awesome.
I agree. I'd like to be like, nah, guys.
No, it's okay. It's
for sure.
No, yeah, I love it.
All right. So that's me, Router.
Let's do this. New releases this week, not a ton. Deadfall Adventures for PC, Xbox 360. Rise of the Triad for PC, and Pikmin 3 for the Wii U. Those are but then we also have some lovely...
Pikmin 3 is a big one.
Yeah. For the Wii U, so we'll see how well that does.
I know, they're struggling.
The big one is BioShock Infinite DLC, Clash in the Clouds, released yesterday, the 30th. No, 2 days ago, the 30th. The pack includes 4 levels, each with 15 waves of enemies. It is free with your $20 season pass or $5. Yep. So that should be good. I watched the trailer for it. Looks really interesting.
And they said it's really combat driven, which is kind of different from the game, which is very narrative driven.
Right.
But they said the next DLC they're releasing, which is Burial at Sea, will be more story driven, and you'll play as Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth at the height of Rapture. 1958.
There you go.
A cool thing that they said about the DLC was they felt like the fans wanted the A team, quote unquote, that worked on the actual game to work on the DLC. And so they were like, you know what? We're not going to put our B team on this. They said the day they finished BioShock Infinite, they pretty much started working on the DLC.
Well, that's good.
Same guys, which I love that.
Yeah, that's awesome dedication. It's like you've worked how many years on this, and then you're like, we're done, and go next DLC.
Right.
More 100-hour weeks.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Oh my gosh.
But
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
Is that normal though for developers to pass off DLC to other developers, or is it just like it's? Well, I mean, not developers to another developer, but so like the main team that works on. Yeah, do they usually use like a different team of people within the company?
You know, I don't know that they do,
I don't know.
but I would think it makes sense that, you know, maybe not the underlings, but just, you know, maybe not the guy that they're paying a grip of money is doing the DLC. Maybe he's moved on to something else and the rest of the team can handle it or something like that. I don't know how that works.
Right. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I'm going to find that out. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. All right. Top teners.
Oh, yes. Top selling games for the week ending July 20th. NCAA Football 14 holds the number one spot.
Yes,
For
sir.
the second week in a row. Number 2, Shin Megami Tensei 4 for the 3DS. Debuts at number 2. Dude,
Nice.
3DS. I'm telling you. We
Tell you
all
I'm
have to
getting
get
one.
one. And
I'm
yeah,
getting one.
you just it has to be done. One of us has to get one. And Gabe, I appoint you. because
thanks.
you have the job that can do that. So that came in at number 2. Number 3 was NCAA football for the PS3. Number 4, Last of Us. Number 5, Animal Crossing New Leaf for the 3DS. Number 6, Rune Factory 4, A Fantasy Harvest Moon debuted
3DS.
for the 3DS.
Yeah.
Number 7, Minecraft for the Xbox 360. Number 8, Time and Eternity for the PS3. Number 9, Dynasty Warriors 8 for the PS3. And number 10, Dynasty Warriors 8 for Xbox 360.
Hey, that's a rare flip flop where PS3's got more than Xbox.
By let's see, about 1,000 units.
I was really hoping you were going to say Black Ops 2.
No. Hey, that's interesting. Black Ops 2 wasn't on the top 10 this past week. Hallelujah. It's good. It'll
Wow,
come.
finally.
It'll come back. Just wait.
You know what's funny is I was talking to our boy Ed Placencia this last week, and I was like, "What you been doing?" He's like, "Oh, just chilling out." Blah 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 blah. He's like, "We did buy a new game," and I was like, "What'd you buy?" He was like, "Black Ops 2." I was like, "Get out of here!" I said, "I hope that's in the top 10 this week, so I can mention to Router that you helped the problem."
Yeah,
Well,
right.
You mentioned it anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
it's still going to get mentioned.
Well, maybe it was like number 11.
Yeah, probably.
It was 10 and a half.
I'm sure it was really close. Right behind Luigi's Mansion.
As soon as it gets cheap enough, I'm going to go ahead and contribute to the problem as well.
Yeah.
So,
I may
There's
end up eventually doing that too, though.
Hall,
yes, sir.
you want to talk about this flip floppy?
Flip flop, you don't stop.
I can't believe it.
Yeah,
I'm glad, but I can't believe it.
Well, the community it seemed like the community had like an outpour over, basically the differences between treatment of indies on or basically on Sony consoles versus Microsoft consoles.
Yeah.
And so
Tell them what we're talking about first.
Well, Microsoft made an official statement saying, we're going to allow indies to self-publish.
Right.
And everybody was mixed on it. So some people were really, really happy. And, for the devs where, games they want to make their games their dream. They want to do games for a living. For them, man, I mean, that seems like great news. I mean, just being able to go at it alone and not have to incur the costs associated with publishing necessarily, like through a larger party. But like I said, at the same time, people are like, no, that kind of, muddies the water because Sony's been doing that and you're just copying what they're doing. I mean, what do you guys think?
It's funny. I thought the same thing when they first released it. I was like, well, okay, you're doing this because obviously, PlayStation made such a big deal about it at E3, and the Wii U. Actually, you can self-publish on there too. But I thought that it's another one of those things like we talked about with the Xbox, like the one when they first had all their things with not being able to trade games and blah 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 blah. You don't really know what you have until somebody says you can have it, or what you don't have. And so when PlayStation came out, because it's not like Xbox self-published on the 360. You know what I'm saying? This is still new business for them. And so, but when somebody else comes out and was like, hey, you can self-publish over here. And people are like, yeah, man, screw Microsoft. I can't believe they won't let us self-publish. They trying to keep their thumb on the top of my head. You're like, well, I mean, that's not how, like the whole thing with, we'll get into it more, Fez 2 with Phil Fish. One of the things that he was saying was, the Fez 2 wasn't going to be on Microsoft or wasn't going to be on Xbox because of the self-publishing thing. And you're like, well, what about the first time? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's interesting.
It's all based on Microsoft being reactive to everything. And that's what's been kind of frustrating, because Microsoft they're a big company. They know what they're doing. But in this instance, they're just continuously backpedaling, and they're being reactive versus being proactive. I mean, just look at what Sony did. They came out at E3, they rocked their press conference, and that's it. They're not backtracking on anything. They're actually just enhancing and telling people more about what they've already talked about. Versus Microsoft is going back and saying, oh, well, we said this, but now we're going to do this, because they're being reactive because everybody's pissed at them now. So it's like,
weird.
Guys, get it together. I mean, you only have a couple more months here until your new console comes out, and you're either going to do something or you're not. And, clearly you're not going in a direction where your core audience is happy with. So now you have to kind of backpedal and be reactive to it.
They need a captain.
So
they need a captain of the ship. It feels like the ship is kind of being tossed by the waves, and whichever way the wind blows,
something. So it's just, to me, it didn't surprise me. Like, I'm basically thinking that by the time the Xbox One comes around, both companies are going to have the same thing. It's just they had a different approach to how they I don't know how they shared it with the audience, with their core audience. But it's just another one of those things. It's great. I mean, as an indie developer, I think it would be it'll be perfect. I mean, self-published, great. Sign me up. But yeah, I don't know. It's one more thing that they're just being reactive to, because they didn't say it outright in the beginning.
Yeah, what they really should have done in that instance is to not match what Sony was doing, but maybe to go above and beyond,
right? And
say, hey, we're taking a new approach. This is new territory. We're going to try something different. So,
and I don't want to keep bashing the Xbox. I feel like we're not really bashing. We're just talking about it. But I feel like we've been kind of on them about it. And it's not because, I mean, yes, we all have PlayStations and that kind of stuff. But for our Xbox audience out there, it's just one of those things where just kind of look at what they're doing. I mean, Sony was in this same situation during the PS2 era anyway. So it's all kind of flip-floppy, which is really weird. But it's just, everybody's just got to get all their ducks in a row before this next generation comes out.
Yeah, it's just really interesting.
It's interesting to note, too, that with the last gen, Sony was making those, basically with the PlayStation 3, they were kind of approaching broad new territory where, like you had mentioned, Xbox had come out with innovations and was proactive, and that's kind of why, in at least the United States, they were, kind of bowling over this generation. They were bowling over Sony. And I think that's why Sony had so much to prove. I think Sony did kind of the same thing with being proactive and being innovative, but they did it over the course of this generation. So, and now that they've gotten to the end of this generation, they're releasing this new console with a lot of the concepts that they had from the last one. And now people are taking big note because Microsoft has kind of, been in their position now. So, and now they have to kind of scramble and figure out how to appease the masses. Now, this doesn't necessarily matter to, Joe Schmo who buys video games, or the mom that buys video games. The key gamer
consumer is not affected by this. It's all, exactly. This is more developer.
Exactly. So, I mean, I think that really it makes big rounds on the internet, and it's going to be interesting to see how that affects next gen. Well, I am really curious to see about it. So I guess we'll be seeing soon enough. So
Yeah, exactly. So kind of on that same subject, we can just roll into Phil Fish. Phil Fish is the creator of Fez, which was a huge game. I think it's sold like 200,000 copies on XBLA, which is, awesome for a little indie guy. So I guess he gets in a fight with a guy on Twitter named Marcus Beer, I feel like, game critic, Marcus really started it, but he goes on, he's talking about Phil and kind of in a roundabout way about, being on Indie the Game. He's like, man, you guys were these guys. Now you're like all these guys. And he's calling them hipsters and he's cussing at them and stuff like that. And Phil Fish, fires back. Because if anybody's seen Indie Games, the movie, which we've talked about, I mean, that was months and months ago. Phil Fish is an interesting cat on there. You know what I'm saying? He's a normal guy, but, interesting. And so he goes on this whole thing and they're going back and forth, blah, 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 blah. And then he goes, you know what? Fez is canceled. I can't take this no more. And the official statement that they released on the Polytron Twitter was, Fez 2 is canceled. I am done. I take the money and I run. This is as much as I can stomach. This isn't the result of one thing, but the end of a long, bloody campaign. You win. And that's it.
He took his ball and he went home. That's the bottom.
Exactly right.
Exactly. And now I hear he wants to just get out of gaming altogether now.
Yeah, he said he's finished with gaming, period.
All right. We'll see you. See you at McDonald's, buddy. No, not at all. He's what? He's made his money. He'll come up with something. I respect him as a developer. Just because I love that story. It's just one of those. Guy works really hard, gets his game together. It's a success. I love those type of success stories. I hate the aftermath of something like that, where I don't know if the success goes to his head or just because, he's just so protective of his property. I don't know what it is, but just the whole take your ball and go home approach, it doesn't work for me. I think it's cowardly. Either you're going to do it or you're not, or come up with a new game or do something different. But that's just not the way to go. It just seems really immature.
Well, it had to be kind of a product of a long line of offenses. I'm sure that through working on games and working with the game community, he just kind of, maybe he was just done. Some people, as far as like tolerance levels, I mean, think about it. He's out there in the public eye all the time,
right?
With his game, and he was in the movie, and the community knows who he is. That's kind of a lot of pressure, especially when you're working on a game where, people are starting to say that you're a sellout or something like that. The problem that I have with people talking to indie devs or like basically just calling out indie devs for being, quote unquote, a sellout. Man, every indie dev, I'm sure, would love to sell out because then that means they're making money doing what they love.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's a bunch of people calling sellout that aren't doing anything.
Right.
You're like, you know what I'm saying? You're like, and my only other thing though is too, you have the opportunity to or not to let what other people say affect you. And I know it's almost impossible when you're in the public eye and people are just like berating you on Twitter and every other forum is talking about how much you suck and everything like that. I understand that, but you still have a choice that you can make to where you're like, look, I'm going to let people have weight in what they say, or I'm going to let it not affect me and just know that they don't know what's going on with me and let that be.
Well, and it's the right people that can, have their weight and can give constructive criticism, not just some Joe Blow person who, just doesn't like you just because he doesn't like you. I mean, this whole back and forth with the game reviewer or whatever, it's just stupid. It's childish. You're not going to please everybody. People are just going to be jealous. Dude, you had a successful game. I've heard great things about Fez. I actually want to play it. It's for like $5 or something like that on goodoldgames.com or something like that. I really want to play it. But now it's just like, dude, what are you doing, man? You have this great opportunity to, to build the momentum from Fez, and now you're doing this. Maybe it's a publicity stunt. I don't know. Maybe he's just doing this for a little while, and then hey, Fez 2 comes out. But
yeah, like Jay-Z, pull a Jay-Z. He's
exactly.
like, I'm retiring.
I'm done. Yep. I'm
no
done,
way.
and now I'm coming back and selling millions of records. But it's just like I said, I respect the guy. I think what he did was great. He's put blood, sweat, and tears in, and he takes great pride in what he does. Fantastic. But this isn't the way to just take your ball and go home. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all.
I'm with you.
So it's all good.
On a lighter note, did you guys see that a guy proposed to his girlfriend using Contra on the NES?
No.
Yeah, I want to hear about this.
Yeah, tell us more.
So I should have wrote down his handle or whatever, but his name is Quinn, and his girlfriend's name is Amy. And so using the actual Contra game, opened it up, dumped it to a ROM, messed with the ROM, dumped it onto another flash something, however it works, puts it back in the cartridge. So it's actually like the cartridge. So he gets her to play the game. She's awesome at Contra, by the way. And so if you guys remember, at the beginning of the game, it kind of scrolls across and you can pick 1 or 2 players. And instead of it saying 1 player, 2 players, it said Quinn and Amy, like 1 Quinn, 2 Amy. So they played together. They had to beat the game, which is a feat in itself.
Awesome.
If you're not awesome at Contra, like
he disabled the Contra code.
Like it can be done. It can be done, obviously, and there's like an achievement on Xbox, I think, where if you can beat it under 12 minutes or something like that, you get this thing. So it can be done. And he said on Reddit that, is that how you say that? Reddit?
Yep.
I was actually looking on Reddit to, do a little digging for this story, and I have no idea how to read that thing. I'm like, what is this? This is the most ridiculous layout I've ever seen. I know people love it. Sorry, Reddit. Anyway, so he said it only took her like 20 minutes to beat the game because she's really good at it. And anyway, so at the end of the game, I don't know if it was before or after the credits or whatever, but it said, "Congrats, Amy. You've beat the game, saved the universe, and won my heart. Will you marry me?" And I just thought that was really, really creative. And it took him a lot of work because he didn't know how Nintendo games worked, really. He'd done a little hacking, he said, but he said it was kind of a learn as you go process. And so I thought that was really cool. I was like, man, I freaking love that.
Hang on to that woman if she's playing Contra and can beat that. Hang on to that woman. Come on.
That's a good one there.
That's a good woman right there. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. And then on the exact opposite side of things, Saints Row 4. We all know Saints Row is pretty graphic and crazy. And it has gotten refused classification in Australia. Australia's like, no, you're not bringing that foolishness here.
Wow.
And so, meaning right now, it will be illegal to sell that game in Australia, in the country of Australia.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
It is. Did they propose like a censored version or a milder violence or milder sexuality version or something?
Yeah, they actually said drugs were the problem.
Huh.
Really?
And they said that their R18 plus couldn't accommodate all the drug usage and everything that that they had in the game. So I was like, so I guess the freaking anal probes and everything from the aliens is fine, but drugs are a problem.
Yes, clearly.
So, and this is after an appeal too. I think it's Koch Media. Yeah, they already said you can't do this, and then Koch Media appealed it and was like, "Come on, guys, come on."
I was going to say, was this their first submission? Because then they could go back and be like, "All right, well, let's pull this back a little bit and this back and resubmit it." But holy cow,
yeah,
on appeal.
So we'll keep our eye on that. So, I mean, but they got Plants vs Zombies early, which I'm really jealous about.
Yeah, right.
But they won't be getting Saints Row as of right now.
So here's my question then. So what about GTA 5?
It got R18.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So
interesting. Interesting.
Saints Row, though, I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Saints Row is crazy.
I've
never
crazy.
played a Saints Row, and that's like kind of what keeps me from it. But to each his own. I don't care. Router, did you have something else?
I was going to say Nintendo released their quarterly report last week. We talked about how they had one of their best quarters, and they just released the report. So out of the information from that report, the good news is that 3DS is the best-selling hardware for the past 2 months in the U.S.
Right.
And
the bad news is that's
in
not
the quarter
new.
ending June 30th. It sold 1.4 million handhelds.
Wow.
On the flip side, good old dear Wii U only sold 160,000 consoles in a 3-month period. Oh,
that's not good, man.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that's so awful.
I don't know if it's a mistake, but in a Walmart in Canada, they ran a flyer where the Wii U was $200.
Wow.
So
here's the thing.
Nintendo hadn't said anything, but that's really cheap.
Like, I think I'm going to get a Wii U at some point. And I was
sure.
What brought me to that conclusion, and you guys tell me too if you think you'd get one too. Hall, when you did your mashup with the Headshot Boys and the Geeks with Wive Boys, even before that, I know Jordan had another podcast that he brought in one of his buddies who has kids, and right off the bat, it sounds like every time you introduce your children or just children in general, and even you guys growing up probably, it's always been a Nintendo game. It's always been Mario, or it's always been something like that. To me, I think that's why I don't think Nintendo's panicking, because I think they've got that market on lock. Like, it's a great introduction to your children because it's safe, it's it's family friendly, and it's fun. And now I'm thinking, my girl's, I still got a few years, but shoot, I want to introduce her to that stuff. And what better way to do that would probably be through like a Mario Kart or, Super Mario or something like that. And maybe that's where I think Nintendo's got it on lock. I don't know. What do you think? I think I'm going to get one. I'm not going to spend 200. What is it now? $299 or
$3? Yeah, I think it's $299 for the base system.
I think I will get a Wii U when I think the price comes down significantly, because to me it's not worth it yet. Now, ask me that later when Mario Kart 8 comes out, because I love those games.
Hello.
But and maybe they will do a price drop around that time. But I think the bottom line is Nintendo, I think, has that on lock. I would love to introduce Piper to gaming at some point when she's a little bit older, and that's probably the way to go. Thoughts?
I mean, I agree with you. Like, Nintendo consoles are, they are family friendly, and I think everybody who's in this gen right now, like everybody who's around our age, has fond memories of owning an NES.
Right,
of course,
and that's the thing that kind of keeps Nintendo going, is the nostalgic factor. I mean, I have an NES, and when we have kids and they're old enough, I'm probably going to introduce them to the NES.
Yeah,
because really, it's and I've heard reports before, and they're probably baloney, but they did say that older consoles build motor skills a lot better than newer consoles, just because of the latency factor.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sure.
I mean, because I think that explains why, and Gabe, you could probably agree with me on this sentiment, but probably explains why we were better at games when we were kids.
I tell you what, boy. You go back and play some of them games now, and they're hard as crap. I'm like, was my reaction time really that banging that I got to beat Sonic? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Exactly, man. Exactly. I mean, like, I used to be able to run through Sonic and not fall through any holes and not hit anything, and now I can't even play it anymore.
I think, though, too, back in the day, games were easier memorized because they weren't as random as they are now. And so you would play a level a couple of times, and your fingers would just learn it. And so you would just be able to fly through and know exactly when to jump before even actually having to react to something. So maybe that makes sense.
That's very true. Yeah, you're right, because there is a lot of more randomization now in games than there were before. And just thinking back to Super Mario Brothers, like where that brick is, where the mushroom comes up, or where that hidden brick is, where the coins pop up.
Exactly.
It's all from memory, and a lot of games now have more randomized AI.
Like,
so
I think I could beat Mario Brothers, like the Super Mario, the NES. I think I could beat that in one life, and it's just
yeah.
because of from playing it so much, and then just knowing, you jump here, jump here, jump here, go down this tunnel, jump, jump, jump. You know what I'm saying? And I think I could still maybe take a good swing at that. So I don't know if it was my reaction time, but I think you're right about the latency. Obviously, I mean, it seemed like things were a little bit more maybe snappier, when everything was wired. I don't know. That's interesting.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't mean to go on a tangent about it, but I was just thinking about it. I mean, I think, I know we've shared our disappointments in Nintendo and just been like, what are you guys thinking? But you got to also understand that they also have 3-4 games in the top 10 right now.
Yeah.
Like 3DS is killing it. And, it just got me thinking, like, I think I'm going to get one eventually. I don't want to spend $299 on a console like that yet.
Right.
I definitely will when it's like 200 or 150. And I think I think when we get rocking into this next generation, and I mean the Xbox 360 and the PS3 will still be around, but as far as next gen consoles are concerned, I think when you've got the Wii U, the Xbox One, and the PS4 sitting on the shelf, and the Wii U is like $249 or $199 or something, I think it'll sell a heck of a lot more.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be, and that demographic is going to be those families, like the dad or the mom that goes and be like, oh, yeah, there's some good games that I know my kids had talked about.
Yeah.
Because
yeah, for sure.
Because I think and I'm just thinking future because, my daughter's is going to be 2 in February and Gabe, Boots is going to be 2 next month, right?
Stupid.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
so it's like, I want to start thinking about that and just be like, okay, if she does want to play some stuff, what am I going to introduce her to?
And I think
it's not going to be.
I think with the Wii 2,
it's not going to be Sleeping Dogs.
Right? Yeah, definitely not going to be Sleeping Dogs. I think parents didn't understand why it was more expensive. I wonder.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, well, why is it $330 now, or $300? The last one was $250, or we got it used it for $200. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that might have been part of the problem.
But I think what's going to happen though is when these next gen consoles come out, I think Nintendo is going to have to be the first one to do something, be it an upgrade or another console or something. I don't know. I don't know. I can't imagine that they're going to try and keep the Wii U going if it continues to have these numbers.
I think they're going to have to.
Maybe they'll
do something.
Well, maybe they'll do like a Wii U second generation, Wii U XL. Or something.
A Wii U 2 or something like that. I don't know. But 160,000 consoles in 3 months is not good.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's not a good thing. Like something's going to have to be done.
Right.
And if it's a price drop, great. Then that's probably when I'll get it. But
yeah,
I don't know. Sorry, I'm on a tangent. Let's continue.
It's all good. Well, we need to get to these questions of the week, but I wanted to hit these two things real fast because I thought they were just interesting. 73% of Ouya owners have not paid for a single game because it's Android and so many Android games are free. I was like, that's really interesting. 73% have been playing the Ouya for free. I think that's kind of cool, though. I think that's why I would have gotten it, is because I would have known that there's a library of games. Plus, Android's got freaking SNES emulators all over the place. And so you really can have be playing Super Nintendo games to your heart's content on the freaking Ouya.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. Obviously leaving 27% of people actually buying games, which is
Suckers.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. And then another quick thing, Activision is trying to go private again. Activision, when they joined up with Blizzard, I guess they kind of were merged under this company called Vivendi.
Vivendi.
Vivendi?
Vivendi.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to go private. Bobby, you guys have to correct me on this
Bobby
one too.
Kotick, I think.
Kotick. Good, because I was going to say Kotick. But I
it might be.
I like Kotick better for a freaking game guy. He's the CEO, anyway, of Activision Blizzard, is trying to get people together to buy this thing back. So Activision as a company will acquire 429 million shares for $5.83 billion in cash monies. And then Kotick or Kotick will be leading an investor group to buy the other 172 million shares for $2.34 billion, making the whole thing $8.2 billion. And Vivendi will still keep 12%, but obviously that's not enough of the lion's share to control what they're doing. Kotick said, or Kotick, sorry guys, said that they won't run the company any differently, but this will allow for a lot more flexibility. And I was like, holy crap, that's a huge company to,
that's a huge buy to basically internalize your company because, they want to break away from Vivendi while still being under that umbrella, but they want to kind of have their own entity. So they're clearly just buying the shares out so that they kind of have more control. That way they can just keep doing what they're doing and Vivendi stays out of their way.
Yeah.
That's got to be the main reason for that.
I like it, whatever.
But dude, dropping that much cash like that, Activision is a beast. Holy cow.
I'm saying. It's not like they don't have huge games that we mention every freaking week.
Every freaking week. Absolutely. Yeah. That's huge.
I love it.
All right, let's do some questions. What do you say?
Yes, I like that as well.
All righty. Facebook, Alex Perez. What are you going to do with your old systems when you move on to next gen? Save, sell, trade?
Save.
I think save, unless for some reason, because either of the Xbox or the PlayStation could come out and be like, it's backwards compatible. We were just kidding. Like they could have an ace in the hole like that.
Exactly.
They're not going to. I don't see that happening. But obviously, if that would be the only reason, I would give it up. I just don't know if the Xbox
there's so many
people
games
are letting the last flip flop that I'm waiting to happen is that they say, okay, all your Xbox Live games can be played on the Xbox One.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know that's a big reason why some people would keep their Xboxes and stuff like that. But I'll probably, for right now, it's keep the PlayStation. Plus, I have the Super Slim now, so
Yeah, you're pimped out, man. You're ready to rock. And plus, there's so many games like on the PS3 too. Like this generation was so long. There's so many games that I'm sure you want to go back to and play.
Yeah.
That still need,
And they still contribute to your trophy score too, right? They're bringing that over.
Yeah,
I think they are.
Yeah, so you're going to see
Alex.
a lot of people keep their old consoles.
Yeah. Good question. Another one from Facebook, Mike Fowler. What moment, not game, but moment, is your game moment of the year?
Oh, gosh.
Mine is the first 10 minutes of The Last of Us.
Yeah, that's probably
nuts.
mine too.
That was like such a powerful moment. I was like, oh.
That was powerful, but I think for me, in the last year, I would probably say, only because it predates that, and I was like, holy freaking crap, was the first little bit of Tomb Raider. Like because I think the first time you control her, she's hanging upside down.
Yeah.
After she's been kidnapped. And I was like, and starting that game off, I was like, all right, here we go. Just because it felt like another level. That was it's not the first time I felt like that, but it was like, I remember when I first played Tomb Raider, I was like, holy crap, I could hand this to anybody and they'd enjoy this, I think. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. That's cool, man. That's a good one. I did not expect you to pull that one out of your hat.
You know what? It brought it back to life for me because I let my buddy Wally borrow it here in town. And we had dinner the other night. He goes, dude. I was like, what's up? He was like, Tomb Raider. And I was like,
nice.
Oh, nobody's even talked about that in a long time. I was like, what'd you think? He was like, I loved it. And so we just kind of got to talk about the game. And I think because Last of Us came out and in my mind overshadowed everything, we forget that there was some freaking amazing games. And that's why I can't wait to play BioShock Infinite, because people love that game and it's a good freaking game. And I just can't wait to play it.
Yep. Good question. All right. We got some Twitter questions now. Mitchell Stricker at Tortellini1. Knowing that you guys are that you guys are on limited budgets for gaming, do you guys look for a lot of deals, and how do you go about looking?
I have a methodology to deals. Like,
ooh.
Yeah, like I'll basically have a buy price, and then I'll have a kind of I'm interested if it hits this price, and I have a waiting period. So if I've waited too long, I pay another price. So it's just kind of a whole thing.
But you also get some stuff day one.
Some stuff, yeah. I mean, stuff that I'm very interested in that has great single player content or even multiplayer content, I'll get pretty close. Like Halo, for instance. Halo was one of those things that I got day one just because the multiplayer was going to die out. And not necessarily die out, but it wasn't going to be as fervent, after the first few weeks. So,
can I just say I went back and watched the trailer for Halo 5, and that game looks freaking ridiculous.
It looks pretty nuts.
Like, I can't wait for that to come out and to get my hands on Halo.
They went to 60 frames a second now, right?
Hallelujah.
Man, that's nuts.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm a sales guy too. Of course, like you're saying with the budget and everything. If I just went out and bought everything I wanted, my wife would be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I bought 4 games for the price of that handbag. Thank you very much. I'm just kidding.
That's right.
She hasn't bought an expensive handbag in a long time. But I definitely couldn't just go out and buy stuff. So I'm definitely a eBay guy. I know you guys are Amazon guys, but eBay's always done me right. And I feel like, eBay is almost like choose your own price. If you're willing to stay up till late hours of the night when other people aren't on eBay or in the middle of the day, you can find some pretty good deals on there, I feel like.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think I still like, excuse me, I still like going to brick and mortar stores. Like, I still just, like, if I'm in a Best Buy for something else, I'll just go over to the game section and just look and see what they've got. Or if there's a GameStop right there, I'll just take a look and see what they've got. Just because it's fun just going and browsing through the shelves. I'm old school. But at the same time, think of the different subscriptions that you can get, like PlayStation Plus. Dude, you get free games for that. That's totally worth it. I just downloaded Battlefield 3 for free. It's like that kind of stuff pays for itself. So don't hesitate to look at those subscription-based services as well, and because they'll always throw out some sort of deal for you too.
Yeah, and XBLA has had a lot more. It feels like sales and discounts.
Yeah, they've definitely ramped up their game, so it's really cool.
Sweet, good question.
All right, here we go. Another one from Psych Tyson. I like that. That's good.
That's great.
Does the Phil Fish incident suggest that there's now too much of a cult of personality around developers and gaming YouTubers? I loved this question. I thought that was a really good question.
That is a good question.
Considering what we just went through with Mr. Fish over there. My feeling is definitely the indie games developers are getting a lot more clout now, especially now that Sony is, with their press conference, how they revealed a lot of different indie games and indie game developers. I think there is a little bit more of that. But at the same time, I think Phil Fish is just kind of a rare breed and not all indie developers are like that. So I don't know. It could go either way. I think he certainly had a good old chip on his shoulder, but he had also a really great success story. And there will be more indie developers and that kind of stuff that will have that. And hopefully they won't go the same way. They'll just continue to build on their momentum and to develop great indie games.
Yeah. I like people being rock stars.
Yeah. Well, you're surrounded by them.
Well, I just love when people are praised for what they do. And I think that definitely does create a culture. But at the same time, I mean, that's what's so great about the Olympics and stuff like that. Like, I don't know anything about swimming and figure skating and diving, but for like 2 weeks, those guys are rock stars and they're killing it for their countries and stuff like that. So when these guys who often don't get praised, the developers and stuff, the guys behind the game, so many times the game will get praised, but the individual guys like Phil Fish, what I'm saying, when you hear his name, or Gabe Newell, or sometimes won't get the praise due from just regular people, like just the consumers, regular consumers, not people into news and stuff like that. So I think I like the stuff that brings attention to these guys.
Well, because everybody loves a good success story too,
Yeah. Hall, what were you going to say?
I was going to say this kind of the state of the internet right now is different than it has ever been for gaming. I mean, especially the fact that you can interact with celebrities and, I don't know, B-list internet celebrities, I guess, with Twitter. You can actually see what they're saying and, how they're feeling a certain day or what they feel about certain issues or topics or news, because they're just on there just talking and you can interact with them. So, I mean, I don't know, but I think that that's kind of what helps people build their cult following or personalities, is just that they're out there in front of people and people can interact with them. So it's pretty nuts. I mean, imagine Gabe, you and I growing up reading Nintendo Power, imagine if we were able to send our feelings to, I don't know, Miyamoto or something crazy.
Right. And him actually
is probably not on Twitter, and I just said that for some weird reason, but
I totally agree. Yeah.
And I mean, back in the magazine days, that's why mail existed. They had actual people writing into the magazines and stuff, and they would actually show some of those messages at the front of the magazine, because it was interesting to see how people would react to things or talk about things, and everybody always had their favorite writing personalities in the magazines and stuff like that. And
yeah, and it's funny because you can go and see. Even then, though, it was like 5 letters, and that either they got a lot more than that, but you didn't always see this sucks, man, blah 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 blah, F this,
exactly.
F that. You're like, holy crap! People are saying that to other humans. You know what I'm saying? I think Phil Fish told the guy to go kill himself, and you're like, what?
Oh,
we say these kind of things to each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's just crazy the things that people say. Y'all be careful out there on this internet, man. Y'all be careful what y'all saying to people. Don't just be saying crazy stuff all the time.
That's right. All right. Last question, then we got to get up out of here. From Gaming On Podcast on Twitter. We have 2 men who are gamers with babies on the way.
Sweet. Congratulations.
How long after birth before they can game again? I love that question. I think that was great. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Yes.
I would say take care of your wife, take care of your baby. If they're sleeping or they're all settled in, then go on upstairs and get your little game on,
That's what I say. That's what Jack.
Right. I mean, that's what I did basically. I mean, that first month and a half, it's just feeding that baby, getting things going. And, it's just one of those things.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, they sleep a lot at first. Both of them, the wife and the
exactly.
And
so
the baby,
you know what?
enjoy
that time. Take care of them. Make sure they're all handled. And when they're all handled, and if they're asleep, or if everyone's comfortable, as long as you're taking care of your family, then go on and have at it. It's a lot of fun.
I will say though, that nighttime. If you're a nighttime gamer, that's about to switch up.
Yes.
If you have one of those babies that wakes up every 2.5 hours, oh my gosh. So you might not be able to sink your teeth into some stuff, but you could game. It's just going to be different.
Yeah, it's just you're going to stretch it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
So it's all good. Yeah. But that's great, man. It's fun.
Yeah.
Babies are fun.
They're the best. And Hall can't speak on it because he doesn't have any babies. So we're just speaking on his behalf.
He has two furry babies. So
he's got 2 dogs.
That works.
That could probably care less about when he's gaming and when he's not gaming.
Yeah, and one apparently turns on his Xbox 360. So I want that dog. That dog's awesome.
Exactly. It's like, hey, you want to play some games? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're the best dog ever.
Right? If I could have Maggie just, hey, will you go turn my PS3 on for me, please? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, train her up in the way she should go.
That's right.
Oh, shoot. Well, we should get up out of here, man. You're about to get a new HVAC unit.
Yeah.
Those guys are about to be there any minute. Man, thank you guys for listening. And thank you guys for sending in your video game memories. More people are sending them in. I want more of them. So just as a reminder, what we're looking for is your name, where you're from, and your favorite video game memory in 30 seconds. And so just record it on your iPhone, on your laptop, microphone, whatever. Send it to us audio. You can send it to mailbag@marriedtothegames.com, or you can send it right to me, Gabe@marriedtothegames.com. And I'm going to edit them together for later this year so you guys can hear what you guys are doing and what was important to you guys when you were young. We've gotten some really cool stuff. We've got some real light stuff, and we've gotten a couple heavier ones, man, and I really like it. It's awesome to listen to. I'm getting a sneak peek of all of them, obviously. And so it's been really cool. Check us out on youtube.com/married to the games. We obviously post all the episodes there, but we also have a really cool thing from Bradley C. when I was up in Green Bay, and his arcade thing at the museum. You can hit us up on Twitter, twitter.com/MTTGcast, facebook.com/married to the games. Of course, you can be old school and go to the website, marriedtothegames.com. Router's got it sexy over there. I'm telling you, will not be disappointed. So come holler at us, man. We are here. You know where we're at. We want to know where y'all are at. We want to keep communicating with y'all. We love this thing. Video games forever. For Gabe Patillo, for Timothy Hall, for Tim Router, we married to the games, baby. We about this thing. Peace.